Hello and welcome to another episode of Addicted to Business. Today I'm delighted to be joined by an old school friend of mine, Miss Emily Philpott. Hello Em, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, I'm very well, thank you. And of course,
Good.
my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, that is Mr. Stokely Howard.
Here he is.
Hello mate, how are you?
Good, thank you, Nave.
Good. And today we're going to be talking all things influencer marketing. The journey you've been on in the last few years has been nothing short of remarkable. So I always see these influencers online and I think, oh, okay, are they even real? Like, I don't know. But now I actually know an influencer, which is pretty damn cool.
You're pretty much an influencer yourself, Nave.
Mate, as much as I would love to think so, I think, and what have you got now, like 50,000 followers or something stupid? Like, I don't
52 on Instagram, 112,000 on YouTube.
Just saying,
So,
no biggie.
But I just, yeah, I mean, you are, so.
It's not like I count the numbers or something, but yeah,
No.
I mean, that's epic. So, and for people listening that have maybe, I don't know, the world of influencer marketing is really new, right? And a lot of people there would have heard it, but there'll be loads of misconceptions. So in real simple English, tell us how it all began. So last time I saw you, you were at school, great, I finished school, you finish your bits. What happens then?
Well, for me personally, it all started when I was younger. So I was like 13, I was watching all of these influencers as such, but I would say back in the day, no one was really making money from it. So essentially it's like creating YouTube videos, it's posting pictures on Instagram, but way back when it was just people were doing that for fun. But a lot of businesses would then see a marketing like side of that and were thinking that, well, if these people have built up an audience that watch them and trust their opinions on things, we could get them to recommend our products, and their followers and all of their audience that they've built up over however long will trust their opinion, and maybe they'll start to look at it, whether it's just getting some recognition for a brand or fully fledged like selling to people's audiences. So yeah, for me it kind of started like way back when I was like, oh my god, that looks so cool, like I'd love to do that as a job. Didn't ever think it would happen. And I have always been interested in social media. Like I'm quite creative. I can't sit in an office for more than 5 minutes. Like I'm just not that type of person. Love working for myself, stuff like that. So I got a job in social media marketing, but I was working for someone else. So I was working for Pan and Ice when we lived down in London. Yeah. So I was working for them and I was doing their social media, but alongside that I was kind of trying to grow my own. And it was slow, but I just got to the point where I could earn more from using that as like a marketing platform, like my own social media, rather than doing it for someone else and getting paid to do that. So that's where I kind of made the jump and switched. But yeah, I would say it's like a person that's built an audience. If you've got a product that you want to sell to a specific audience, so like for me, if it's clothes, a lot of clothes brands reach out because people follow me for my fashion, then great, I can probably sell your clothes to my audience, so long as I like your brand and I trust you.
So yeah. What is the audience that you kind of go after? Is it like a set age range or is it a set product type?
I kind of feel, so the way I've done it, I know a lot of people kind of start up with like an audience in mind. So they'll start their platforms and they'll target it to like a specific hobby or a specific product or a specific age group, like you say. But I've kind of just been myself. Like I've kind of just targeted, or I suppose made my like content and focused it around like my life in general. So I've got a very broad audience in the sense of like, if I'm doing kind of like a challenge video just for a bit of fun, then a lot of younger kids will watch that. I've just moved house and I vlog all of that. So a lot of older people.
I've been seeing that, the old daily vlogs on the move. And
there you go.
Mum and dad make an appearance and on his girlfriend sometimes preparing the dogs. Like it really is a kind of a mini Kardashian. You just get this.
I mean,
like, that's cool.
But that's what I mean. Like it's so broad when you're just vlogging your life. And the main focus I would say is fashion, but fashion can, like, everybody hopefully wears clothes every single day, so it could be anybody from like 13 to I've got 40-year-olds that follow me. Like I've got such a broad audience.
All female or primarily female?
I think so. My demographics I think are around 20-something% are male and the rest are female. Okay. So it's definitely majority female. I think that's quite apparent.
So Emily, I imagine that you can't just become an influencer. It doesn't happen overnight, right? And a lot of people probably expect that it does, or, you know, they think, oh, I'm just going to post this and this, and, you know, 2 weeks later, I'm an influencer. I'm, you know, working with brands and et cetera, et cetera. What would you say to someone like that, or someone who wants to be an influencer? What 3 tips would you give to someone looking to start out?
Okay, so the main things I would always say is consistency is key. The more you post, the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to get heard and seen. Also, don't be afraid to like just share yourself on other platforms. Tell your friends, tell your family, get them to share you. I think a lot of people don't like feel a bit weird about sharing their own stuff and trying to like big themselves up, but it makes a hell of a difference, and it shows that confidence in what you're kind of doing. I have another one written here, which I can't remember what it is. Oh, following trends. So this is something I always say to people, like I do a lot of haul videos, and I'll try and do haul videos that I know have done well on like somebody else's channel. So for example, if anyone's out there and wants to do a haul video, do a Zara one because it will do well. People are interested specifically in these brands.
I'll be doing a Zara video. Can't wait.
Zara, write it down.
I'll be waiting for that, honestly. But following trends like that, like if you know a brand does well and people are interested in it, then focus your videos around that, because it jumps on the algorithm and it will be pushed by YouTube and stuff like that. But be careful to not just straight up copy people. If you copy like a challenge or something, give credit where credit's due. You don't want to kind of annoy people from the off and just rip off someone's brand basically. But yeah, consistency, following trends. Also in terms of like Instagram specifically, make sure you're tagging, if you're wearing a specific thing, if you're wearing specific makeup, tag every brand you possibly can, because if they repost your image, you've just reached a whole new audience. So yeah, they'd be my main tips.
Love that. My days as an influencer are just beginning, man. It's so exciting. So building on that, I'm interested to hear, like, influencer marketing isn't for everybody, right? And actually, while you do it very well, some brands just won't affiliate with it. So like say cosmetics, fashion, that all makes perfect sense to go influencer way. Are there any brands we think probably aren't suited for influencer marketing?
I'd always say like there are definitely brands that it's a lot more difficult to kind of involve an advert organically. So I like working with lifestyle brands because if it's something I use day to day, posting a picture isn't anything out of the ordinary, and like my followers will know that I use it. So like you say, makeup, I wear it almost every day. Fashion, I wear it every day. Like that's a lot easier. But I think you'd be surprised at how well it actually does work for brands. So I wrote down, because obviously I know you own your website company. Things like that. Like you would initially think, and like my dad has a software company, you'd think, right, well, some girl posting on Instagram isn't going to suddenly make like 10,000 people go and build financial software with Mitchell Philpott. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not going to happen. But I have worked with.
I'm sure he's going to be very proud of that. They're just in case you didn't know, time for advice, Mitchell Philpott. There we are. He's had his shout out. Job done.
Move on. Yeah, so, but I think you would be surprised. Like I've had brands reach out where I'm like, oh God, like I don't know how I'd make that fit in. But you work around it. So for example, I have worked with a website company in the past and they've been shocked at the response that my followers have given them. So specifically for brands that are more online and like sell online services, I would say definitely still give it a go and try and kind of market yourself in more viral type videos. So videos that are just going to get the views rather than it being specifically like in a certain type of video. Some brands that have a product that is harder to sell essentially, then just worry about the views. They don't worry about it fitting in with anything. If they get the views, you'll be shocked at the response you get. So for example, the website company I'm working with, they've had so many people sign up because loads of people my age and my followers want to start blogs. So there's just
another website company. Let's just cut the recording here, shall we? 2:14.
Well, I mean, I did think that.
Let's go.
Okay, bye. Thanks for having me. No, but that's what I mean. Like, if you guys did want to market, like, I just think there are so many more ways of utilizing it than you might initially think as a brand. But yeah, definitely some are more easier than others to sell from my end.
It all looks very glamorous, you know, and social media, I think, is a glamorous world anyway. Everyone sort of puts on, like, you see like the best of everyone's life, right?
Yeah.
And the positives. And I guess you could say it can be perceived as fake in a way. However, I'm sure it comes with its challenges. So for you, what are the biggest challenges you've had to overcome, or you've had in the past, or in general, or, you know, what are those challenges?
I mean, you're so right. Like, I think people forget that you are just going to put the best of you online. So for example, I get my relationship compared to a lot, which is funny because I don't even put it online, and people just dig. Like, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of personal questions, people trying to find out information. Like, it's just kind of insane to me, but it's a lot of the people would say so much behind the screen that they just wouldn't say to your face. So like trolls, there's hate forums, which I can't believe are even a thing, where people just log on and just
not for the
go
Emily
off on you
brand.
Basically. No, touch wood, luckily not.
How big are you now? That's ridiculous. Your own hate brand.
No, but you'll be surprised. Like there could be people that would have like 10,000 followers, and there could just be a whole thread of these people just being horrible about nothing. And I think that is when you get somebody else's opinion when it's negative, and you think, well, you don't really even know me. Like that can be quite hard to deal with sometimes. But it kind of comes with the job, I suppose.
No, exactly right. I mean, trolls operate in every walk of life, right? And I guess that's one of the hardest things is when the bigger you are, the harder you fall, and the more people will want to see you fall, right? And Stokely and I will have this within business, and you'll have this within your own business as well. The more popular and the more followers you get, more haters will come. And that's okay. That's part of the success journey, right? You're always going to have people that don't like you, and that's hard to kind of balance. For me, I'm interested in the side around partnerships and affiliations. So let's say today I suddenly run a fashion brand and I'm like, okay, I need someone to sell my product. I just message you or you message me, or how does that all work?
To be fair, there's a lot, like it really is that straightforward sometimes. I personally have a manager, so I would say it works a lot like a modeling agency. So models have managers, they get them work. Like that's essentially how my manager works for me. So I pay him a cut of my revenue and that's it. Like, so he'll essentially have like a portfolio of brands. He'll pitch me to them. I'll get work that way. But if you did decide to set up a clothing brand, which can't wait, by the way, and you did want to just message someone, if you did just message someone, then that it could be that simple. Like it really isn't complicated. But yeah, so for me personally, my manager essentially gets me work. But if I was on my own, I would say to people, like, as much as brands will reach out to you, so from a business side, you would essentially be doing the reaching. Influencers sometimes do reach out to brands, but I would say if you do want to do that, reach out to them with an idea in mind already. So almost pitch your idea and pitch not just yourself and like, hey, I've got this many followers, this is my audience. More so like, I'd love to work with you on a project that's long term and do X amount of videos or whatever it may be. Like it's just like any old business. It's the same kind of negotiation on the fee and stuff like that. That's how it works.
I was going to say this one's a little bit off topic, but on that fee point, how do you know how much to charge? Like that seems so difficult.
That's why I've got a manager, honestly. I don't love the negotiation side of things. I have never really known what you charge, and I still don't. I mean, it's weird because in the influence world, people always say we all need to be more open, because some of us are definitely getting screwed over by having the smallest fee ever, when some people are being like doing exactly the same job with maybe even less followers and getting paid more just because they negotiate better. There's no set rule book for it, like still, and I don't think there ever will be. It's very like unspoken, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't have an answer of, someone has like a working out of it's 10 times your followers or 3 times your followers or something like that. Like I literally don't know.
So at 50,000 followers,
no. So like
150,000. Is that like in pence? Or are we talking 150,000 pounds for you to tell about?
No, like
the website quick buy. That seems excessive.
I think like it's in the first number of your followers. I forgot to mention that bit. like as in one number. I don't know. I literally don't know.
We'll work it out, but that's quite good.
But it's also like what content you're producing for them. So if it's a long term, then you're going to get paid more. If it's like a contractual thing, then it just differs literally so much. I get paid different. Everyone's like, how much you earn? I'm like, I literally couldn't tell you. Not because I don't want to, I just couldn't tell you. It just changes.
It just goes in the bank and you don't look at it. And you just enjoy your life.
Just run around.
Brilliant.
Literally. That's my life.
Dream.
So Emily, if you could start your influencer career again, would you do anything differently?
I don't know. I think I'd probably be a lot more kind of open at the start in regards to like my life and who I am as a person. Because when I first started, I really was just like, oh, I'm going to do a load of hauls and just try and get noticed. But I think if I had more people on board from the start that kind of knew more about me, there's more longevity in that. And I'm not saying like my career's coming to an end, but I do think I'm only just starting to get that, like people involved in my life personally. So yeah, that's probably what I would do.
I'm going to go in quite a deep topic here. I don't think I even included the warning questions, so feel free not to answer, okay? But we're known on this show for asking the difficult questions. So what I want to know is for the audience as well. There's a lot of people that would love to start, but they're going to be massively insecure, okay? They're going to be insecure about how they look, how they sound, what they wear, their body shape, all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't necessarily want to know all of your demons. I don't think that's right to share. But at the same time, what advice could you give to people that are having those concerns?
Okay, so this is interesting because this is actually something that me and my friend G, who I met online, I met through YouTube, we're very passionate about trying to portray on our platforms that, one, anyone can do this job because it is so irrelevant what you look like. There's way more things to you as a person than the exterior that people see. Two, I do totally understand that, because if I scroll through my Instagram feed now, all I would see is like size 4 models that have nothing to them, and like everybody puts their best online. So what I would say is, if you want to do it for the right reasons, and don't do it because you want to come across a certain way, you want to look a certain way, be yourself, because it's so hard to keep up and act. Like, I don't know how anybody does that. But just don't, like, you have to come into this industry not comparing yourself to anyone, whether that's on views, whether that's on what you look like. Just do you. Like, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you will do that anyway. And there's so much more to you as a person, whether you're funny, whether you're kind, whether you're giving across amazing information. That's more important than face value on what you look like type thing. That's what I'd say.
Love that.
Okay.
Love that. Yeah, good answer. Very good answer.
So other than working, with these brands, I guess you've got to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
How have you've got 50,000 followers, you said. How have you done this? Is it purely just, are you just been like super proactive from the start, because I imagine that a lot of people just expect it to come to them,
Which is weird, because some people it does. So like, if you have something that either goes viral, you do kind of become an influencer overnight, because you then just have this platform of people that are interested in what you're going to do next. That's not happened to me, but I mean, I suppose it's a bit like winning the lottery. You've done no hard work, and maybe they've done hard work, but you suddenly just like have all these followers. Right. No, but some people just then have an audience to sell to. And like, I take, for example, the Love Islanders. They come out of that villa and they've gone on holiday. I'm not taking anything. I'm sure they may work hard while they're in there, but they then have, and I'm talking millions of followers when they come out. And that is, in terms of fees, that is big. That's big money. Like, that is, I'm going to be transparent about it. That is, they're making a lot of money for essentially going into a villa, coming out, there's your audience. Like, whereas when I first started, I was working a full-time job. Like I said, I was working for the Fun Nice Guys. I had a job after that. Like, I was working 2 jobs alongside each other, and I was probably working harder back then because I wanted it so bad. So I was coming home, I wasn't going to bed until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I was just on it, basically. And I think it is what I said at the start, is consistency, making sure you are just up to date on everything, and keeping people up to date with your life, especially, because that's where the longevity is, like I said. But yeah, I think it does work one of 2 ways, but I would say for brands, there's more trust that goes into an audience with people that have built it over a long time, as opposed to Love Islanders coming out and having millions of followers, because you don't know who those followers are. Whereas I could tell you today, I could show you my algorithms, I could show you my demographics. Like, I know exactly who my followers are and who I'm pitching to as such. Whereas I feel like they might not know exactly who. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I do think it's interesting.
We get half the Love Island audience watching this show. Now we're going international. For anyone listening, we do.
Sorry, everyone.
It's purely Emily's opinion. And also, when you're doing this influencer piece, you're obviously building a personal brand, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone's got the Emily Philpott show, and that's brilliant. That comes with a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. A pressure to be consistent, a pressure to keep performing, a pressure to, interesting what you said earlier about you don't keep up an act. But I mean, you've always got to, there's got to be some kind of act. Like again, when you're running a business, right, there is pressure to consistently deliver good quality information, to consistently be on form for your team, to consistently deliver good products for your clients. How do you deal with the pressure, Em?
I would always say that I try not to put the pressure on myself. So for example, if I go on holiday, or if I even just go out for dinner, something as simple as that, which we can't do at the moment, but when we can, I don't necessarily focus on like, I need to get a picture today, or I need to make sure I'm filming this whole holiday and make it look amazing. If I want to film it, I want to film it. If I'm having a bad day, I won't pick up the camera, because that, like, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see me crying, or I'm not going to come on and be like, me and my boyfriend just had a massive argument, like, just that I'd let you all know. Like, that's not going to pick anyone up. I want my platform to be almost like a bit of an escape of reality for people if they need that. If they need like 15 minutes to just be distracted and live my life for those 15 minutes, then they can do that. But I don't put too much pressure on, like, I need to look a certain way, or I need to do this because that girl did it. And I don't do that. If you don't apply the pressure to yourself, I feel like you can kind of just push it back the other way type thing. I think it's, if you let it in, that's where it kind of goes downhill. But if you don't, then, and you just keep doing you and what you specifically want to do, and not kind of conform to what society and other social media influencers are saying, then yeah, you'll be all right.
Your story sounds like, well, your story is a remarkable one, and I'm sure lots of listeners are keen to hear what's next for you. What is next for you? What's the end goal?
Okay, so I've actually only mentioned this once, I think, on my platforms, but
here we go. Exclusive content. Listen up.
Kind of exclusive. Short term, if anyone's wondering, short term, like I say, I have just moved house, so I'm doing a load of like renovation vlogs. We're renovating this whole house. So yeah, moving vlogs and stuff like that. But long term, me and my friend who I briefly mentioned, Georgia, are going to be setting up a podcast. So here we go.
What a place to practice. Just remember your roots, Em. This is where it all starts. I get a plug on every show.
Don't worry, I'll mention that. But yeah, that is something that we've always been super keen on, and just talk all things girl talk, really. And again, try and help people, whether it's about body positivity, whether it's about boys, like whether it's about growing up, and just all sorts of things like that. We'd love to do it. So yeah, I think that's the next step. That is
really exciting. Final thing from me is around your motivation to do it. Like, I know your family fairly well, and I know they've been a massive supporting factor. Perhaps just a little bit about them. I don't need to know like what they do and who they are, etc. But just for the audience, like, are they your biggest motivations or your biggest inspiration?
Yeah, I would definitely say love you, Mum, but Dad is definitely my biggest motivation.
Oh, damn!
In terms of like, because Dad, like, from a young age, he's gone and lived in London, set up his own business. Like, he's always been very business minded, and I think that's definitely where I get it from. And it has inspired me to do my own thing, and not like, yes, you can do very well for yourself working for somebody else, but I love the fact that like everything I've done, one, has my name on it, but also is just me. Like, I've done all of that. So Dad in terms of inspiration, Mum in terms of all the support. Like, she is literally my number one fan, and I love that. Like, she's just great for that. Ollie's number one fan as well. He's great.
Also, in the early days, he used to be on the shows, didn't he?
Yeah. He's been in a couple of videos, so I need to get him in more, to be fair. We did like a challenge video of who knows me best, my brother or my boyfriend, so we need to do more of them. But
love it.
They've always supported me, which is amazing. I think you need that. I think if anyone's in your life and they kind of start to question what you're doing, if you love it, you've got to just ignore what they're saying. But luckily I've not experienced that with my family and friends.
Very good. And thank you so much for joining us today. For all the listeners, I hope you found that useful. If they want to find out more about you, Em, or they want to follow you, then I guess the best place would be Instagram and YouTube.
Yes, so my Instagram is Emily Diane Philpott, and my YouTube is just Emily Philpott.
Boom. And thanks so much. Lovely to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Speak to you all soon. Thanks again.
See you later.